10 for another shot fired.
Copy, additional shot fired.
Shot fired, shooting at us.
Suspect shooting at officer.
Down. He's at the base of the stairs, white t-shirt, white male.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first episode of the Shots Fired podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Kyle Shoberg.
And I'm Billy, sometimes known as Hillbilly.
And we're going to get into how we call him Hillbilly, or came up with the nickname Hillbilly later on in the show. But for now, we're going to talk about why we started this podcast, how we got started in it, how Billy and I met, and kind of what we do in our career and what we have in store for you guys. So this is the first episode. We want to give you guys a little backdrop of who we are. And again, like I said, how we got started. So I'm a police sergeant with a agency in Northern California. I've been a police officer for about going on 15 years now.
I like how he throws the sergeant thing like he's got some cred, you know.
Well, you're not a sergeant, so technically I'd be your boss.
You know, to each his own, right?
Yeah.
Different departments and
we do work at different departments, but within the same county. So we're not going to disclose where we work, but we work closely with each other in our department. So, as I was saying, I have about 15 years on. Billy, how many years do you have on?
Ooh, I got about
half.
10. No, I got 10.
Okay, he's got about 10 years on.
10, maybe. I'm pushing 11 here soon, but yeah, closer to 10.
So I've spent the bulk of my career working the streets. I spent about 7 years doing canine, and when I was on the canine team, I augmented the SWAT team. So a lot of experience doing SWAT call outs, canine, any type of canine related incidences. And really when you're a canine handler, you're really involved in a lot of critical incidences. And that's kind of how I got started doing what I'm doing. We want to share with you guys how Billy and I met, how we got started doing this podcast, and I guess let you guys, let you know what we want to get out of it or what we hope to get you out of it. So
I think that a good purpose of this first podcast is to give you guys the opportunity to ask your questions and kind of figure out where this podcast should go, because while I think we both have some very good stories and we both have a lot to say about a lot of things, this is for you. And if we're doing stuff that you guys don't like, then hey, let us know. And in this podcast, you can figure out from the first one here some of our backgrounds and what we can talk about.
Yeah, we can't get into exactly where we work or what exactly Billy does, but we do want to share with you a little bit of our experiences, bring you some credibility to the table. So I'll start with me. Like I said earlier, I spent the majority of my career, actually all of my career, working the streets, either on patrol or I did 7 years in the canine unit.
Are you better than me because you've done your whole career on the streets?
A little bit.
Oh, I knew he was going to say that, but go ahead.
I will give him credit.
I meant to interrupt, but
I will absolutely give Billy credit over here. He does have a really cool job, a very dangerous job, and he can explain that a little further. And if you're wondering why he's wearing white headphones, it's because, well, we went to go buy some black ones to match mine, but they didn't have any, so we ordered them. So get over it. Anyways, yeah, so I was a dog handler for 7 years at my agency. I ran 2 different dogs, dual purpose dogs, meaning both bite work and detection. And during that time, I augmented the SWAT team. So anytime we had a SWAT call out, I would respond. I had a lot of successful SWAT deployments with the dog, a lot of cool stories with that. And then I worked patrol with my dog, my current dog, Axel, and then my previous dog, Dax, which was a Belgian Malinois. And I ended my career with Axel, who's a German Shepherd, an all black German Shepherd. Anyways, yeah, that's been the bulk of my career doing that. Really fortunate to be able to dog handler. Was involved in a lot of critical incidences. Like I said, I've been involved in several officer involved shootings, and we can get into that later in some other episodes. But really, what Billy and I want to bring to the table is why we're doing this and what we can do for you guys. So Billy, tell them a little bit about what you do in your job.
So what I do is, well, first of all, you heard me take my shot at Kyle about his total career in on the streets. In the agency that I work for, you start off in corrections, and with my background, the way that I was raised and where I was raised, I honestly didn't have a whole lot of experiences where it comes to the criminal mindset and, you know, dealing with criminals. So starting corrections, I almost didn't work for my agency because I was like, screw that. I don't want to work in corrections. And I think that
It's pretty normal, right?
it's actually a normal thing. I think that there's a lot of people that that sway away from departments that start in corrections. And
is it because when you work in the jail for so long, guys feel like they're never going to get out on the street, and they feel like you're just going to work in the jail your whole career? And after a while, being a babysitter for a bunch of adults probably gets pretty old.
I mean, that's part of it. I mean, honestly, let's be honest. The reason that I got into law enforcement is probably the reason that you got into law enforcement, probably the reason that 90% of the people got into law enforcement. And that's to be out there on the streets, catching bad guys and taking them to jail, or helping the community, whatever it may be. In corrections, there's not a whole lot of that. While there's not a whole lot of that. So you kind of go down this different path. And I explain that a lot, or I can explain that a little bit more as the fact that when you're on the streets, and I've done my time on the streets, not nearly as much as you. There is, I would say, the 90% to even maybe more of the people that you contact are actually good, really good people. And even some of the people that you arrest, they have made their mistakes in their lives, and you
Sure.
understand that.
Yeah.
When you're in the correctional standpoint, we're literally at a point where they have done something to get arrested. It's not just random Joe Schmoes coming in there, right? They have done something. And a lot of them have done some very violent and some very bad things that most of society thinks of as very bad things. And you become kind of jaded on things in a little bit, where you just think like, hey, you're dealing with criminals all the time. And it's hard. There's at a point sometime where it's hard for you to separate things. And when you go out to patrol, you become more of a person, I think. And that's why I never really was a big fan of corrections for me for a lifetime. But I always say, like I was telling you, is with my growing up and everything, what I learned in corrections made me a far better cop than I would have been if I would have gone out straight to our patrol situation.
I have heard that. I've heard that guys that do work in the jail and then roll out to patrol, learn to talk to people better, or talk to, I guess you could call them criminals, or the hardened street guys, because you deal with them so much in the jail and you conversate with them. You kind of get the flow of how they live out on the streets. You learn to, I don't know, I guess, not live in their environment, but you learn to engage with them a little bit better. So then when you get out on the street, it's a little bit easier to conversate with them. I mean, a city police department, you don't obviously work in the jail. You roll right out to patrol. And I think we could agree that most new cops that start this job have the hardest thing they have to deal with is just talking to some of these people. Maybe they're robotic, or they're used to the academy and how they're trained to talk to people in the academy. But when you work in the jail, really that's all you're surrounded with are these types of people. So I have heard that, if you work at a sheriff's department, or you start out in the jail and corrections or whatever, that rolling out to patrol is you have a leg up on being able to communicate better, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think that it taught me, it did teach me a lot what you're talking about. And that's probably the number one thing it taught me. It also taught me empathy too.
That's important for sure.
And empathy is huge in law enforcement, where we all know that there's career criminals out there. I've met a lot of them. Kyle's probably met more. They're just career criminals, and their job. My job is law enforcement. Kyle's job is law enforcement. Their job is a criminal. There are people out there who were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they made a mistake.
Yeah.
And, some of us can all relate to that. Like, I've made many mistakes, not a lot of criminal mistakes or major criminal mistakes, but we've all made mistakes, right?
Sure. I have. I mean, I've been in trouble by the cops when I was a kid, but
yeah, I mean,
I think what we're seeing right now in society is,
I'm not going to go too far into
yeah, we don't want to get ourselves in trouble.
what trouble I've been in with the cops, but
I think right now in society and especially in law enforcement, I think everybody across the country can agree that a lot of states are decriminalizing or minimizing drug charges. And I think we both can agree, and we've both been around it enough, that drugs are damn near the catalyst of everything. I mean, really alcohol and drugs is kind of the catalyst of a lot of more major crimes. And it starts with that. So
I think that, when we talk about drugs, and I don't know if I said it yet, but I did a few years as a detective in a major narcotics. So, I do have a little bit of, I probably say I have more than the average cop knowledge of narcotics. Well, I think that doesn't really, there's not a big difference, because street cops deal with a lot of different things than I did in major narcotics, because major narcotics is dealing with the bigger level guys and not the street level kind of things, more of your traffickers, cartel, that kind of thing.
Like big time shit.
But when it comes to narcotics, it's kind of the starting ground for a lot of things. I've seen what narcotics have done, and I know Kyle has, and I know if you are an active law enforcement or inactive for all that matters, you've obviously seen it too. And I think that the community that is going to be listening to this and watching this, you've seen some of the bad that narcotics have happened. And we have mentioned that we're California cops, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I don't know if we should be embarrassed about that or embarrassed that we live in California. I do think California does have some pretty high level training, and we are a little above average as far as policing goes on the West Coast.
I think we're the top of the top, but hey, that's my personal opinion. And I'm sure I would love to read the comments and hear about that, but I can't wait. So when it comes to California, we weren't the start, but we were definitely on the head front of legalizing marijuana. And I don't want to go too far into this, because we can go down a rabbit hole, and we all know that. In my experience, while I do not really have a problem with the use of marijuana, there's some use and some things. There's some good that comes out of it. I don't use it.
Sure.
Probably never will. I've seen the bad that comes out of it. And why being the bad is there's such a black market for it that there was a time in law enforcement that I had noticed that many of our homicides actually derived from
a lot. Yeah.
Marijuana, and they derived from the theft of marijuana. And it's because it is,
even though it's legalized, we still get it year after year.
It is
a lot of our homicides come from that.
Huge business.
Mm-hmm. A lot of money.
Huge. And I don't know where you guys are working or where you guys are from, but the chances of your high grade marijuana, legal or not legal, coming from California are pretty high. We kind of have the best shit on the planet.
Yeah. It's our soil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marijuana is definitely, people love to downgrade it. And you're right. I mean, it is one of those drugs where to the average person, it's such a minuscule drug. But what most people don't know is that a lot of our homicides, especially during harvest season, comes from marijuana. These people that have these big marijuana grows, these guys come and do these home invasions, and either the folks that are trying to guard their marijuana are killing the folks that are doing the home invasions, or vice versa. They're killing the people that are growing the marijuana. So it is a huge problem as far as that's concerned, which a lot of people I don't think realize. But yeah, I mean, California is definitely a hub of big marijuana grows. That's for sure.
And by no means do I want to say that that's the bread and butter of major narcotics. It's actually kind of
a little low.
It's kind of lower on the totem pole, but I don't even know why I really went there. But I want to get just why, not necessarily how we met, but you mentioned that your dogs, both of them, were dual purpose. Did you explain what dual purpose means?
Yeah. So dual purpose is a patrol function would be a bite dog, guard dog. And then the other aspect of it is a detection dog, whether that's drugs, bombs, guns, you name it. Dogs can virtually smell anything or detect anything you train them to. So yeah, we have dual purpose dogs at our department. I know you guys do as well, but
I don't think
you have some.
Do we?
You have some.
Well, okay. I'll be honest. When I think of dual purpose, I think of a drug and a bite dog. Is the way that the normal patrol people would call it, or you call it guard dog, or
bite dog.
Bite dog. I call
Guard
them a
better.
drug, apprehension, bite, whatever you want.
Apprehension. There you go.
Apprehension
that
dog.
Sounds better.
And I think of a drug dog. And in my department, honestly, we've had a few, but I don't think right now we have any.
Yeah, I think you guys have apprehension dogs. Yeah,
we have apprehensions, and they're trained
for sure
in article or gun. Is article or is it
article?
Gun?
Yeah, article's a little different. We can get into canine stuff. We're gonna have a canine trainer, a local canine trainer, come on a show, and we can get in depth with that with you guys.
Kyle,
for all you canine handlers out there.
So Kyle doesn't know anything about this, and he's gonna defer. No,
that's
kidding.
all I know about.
I kid because Kyle knows far more about dogs and being a canine than most canine handlers that I know. But we'll get onto that. So we'll get onto that in another thing. But I think we were talking a little bit about what I've done. So after doing the narcotics thing, I've decided that it wasn't really my thing, to be honest. I did the undercover thing. And by undercover, a lot of people throw out the undercover and say, oh, I've done undercover. And I guess I'd be somewhat of that guy where I've very little undercover work. I've done a lot of surveillance, a lot of different levels of undercover, but I have done the street level undercover, which is very, very fun. So if you guys new cops out there, if you get that opportunity, you can't look like Kyle because he looks like a cop, or Captain America, whatever, If this guy showed up and said, hey, I want to buy your best narcotics, you'd be like,
yeah, I wouldn't. I could never do it. I could probably pass as like a high schooler doing undercover stuff in a high school, but
he's too pretty.
Yeah, I couldn't do some hardcore undercover stuff. I would.
Oh, and I can't do hardcore undercover. I can't do hardcore undercover. Yeah. But I've done your street level stuff where, you walk up and you say, hey, man, can I get whatever? Can
I get a little 8-ball?
No, see, dude, I would call you out right there. But we'll get into that maybe another time.
I'm not a dope
maybe
guy.
We'll get somebody who's actually done some real undercover on here. I don't know. I think I know some people who maybe. We will. I guess they kind of have to be done with the undercover thing because we're on camera.
Yeah.
And we're saying we're cops.
Yeah.
And this beard doesn't hide as much as you think it does.
Yeah. I don't even think I could grow a beard like that, to be honest.
I gotta cut it here soon, and I gotta take some department photos. But that's you guys might see, and you're gonna be like, man, you can see the depression in my eyes because the beard means a lot to me right now.
Yeah. So you guys get the gist of what kind of a little backstory of what we did. I mean, I've honestly spent 100% of my career on the street, working patrol, rolled into canine, did that, and then did a lot of SWAT stuff for many, many years, and then just recently promoted as a patrol supervisor. So now I'm a full-time babysitter. Like we said, Billy here does, he's still in the detective world, and he does go after the worst of the worst. I mean, his team is going after homicide guys, shooting suspects every day. That's all they do. So
yeah, I didn't really get to it, but basically I segued and I changed to a fugitive apprehension team, and
which is badass. That's a dangerous job. That's a cool job. You're going after the worst of the worst.
It's a great job. And like anything, and I think that you can attest to this, and I think that most of the people that are watching this, who are especially in law enforcement, but not even in law enforcement, can attest to that. What makes the job even better is the team.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. Yeah. You could have, I don't know, you know, if you have a group of guys that really gel together, I don't care if it's a really shitty environment that you work in. I mean, you can't beat that. You know, good leadership, a good team of guys, doesn't matter what environment you're in, you will thrive and you will succeed. I mean, that is crucial. We've probably both worked with shitty teams.
Shitty teams and shitty leadership. And we'll never get into the specifics of that.
We won't dime you guys out who are our shitty bosses. You know who you are.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, so...
How did we meet?
So yeah, we'll get into how we met. Small world. Billy and I actually learned that we lived next door to each other, or I don't know, within a few houses.
5 houses?
Yeah, a few houses away from each other.
And being the detective that I am, I learned this because he had a police car in his driveway.
Yeah, my canine car gave that away, parked in my driveway every day.
It was really hard.
Billy and I met. We were on a call one night, and like, again, I work for city. He works for the sheriff's department, but we do help each other out a lot, especially during a major incident. This was a major incident. I got involved in a shooting in this one. And after the shooting was over, I mean, cops from all over obviously show up to stuff like that. So I walked kind of down to the edge of our, I guess, containment line, and it was all over with. Billy was standing there, and we're kind of chatting. And, you know, I'm kind of letting my adrenaline run off, and you're standing there and you go, hey, who's the canine guy that lives on this particular street in this neighborhood? And I'm like, shit, that's me.
Well, and I had no idea of his involvement in this call, just so you know.
Yeah. You didn't know you didn't know.
And by so I showed up after your involvement, we'll just call it after your involvement with it. And they're like, hey, go stand across the street and from this incident. And they'd moved the perimeter back. And so I'd been sitting there for at least a half hour, maybe even more, across the street, looking at a house where situations had been,
it was dealt with.
Solved.
If you guys were, if you're wondering, it was an armed guy. He had explosives, and it was a shootout. We ended up winning that. And so we had to evacuate a bunch of houses and push people back. And so that's why we were kind of stuck on an outer perimeter.
Well, but we also had an EOD or a bomb environment to this one. And I think that's why I ended up being like, I would say that at some point I was like one of the closer guys, but not that close. And
inner perimeter,
and while I say that the major danger of the armed suspect had been
neutralized,
dealt with.
Yeah, he was neutralized.
Okay, we'll go with neutralized.
So, anyways, we're kind of sitting down there and bullshitting with each other, and he's like, "Hey, who's the canine guy from your department that lives on this street?" And I'm like, "Well,
should I say the street?
No, we're not going to tell where we live." But I'm like, that's me. And he's like, no shit, I live right around the corner from you. And I said, no way. So we kind of started talking with each other. And I still don't think he knew that I had been involved in this whole thing. And
I don't think I knew until I got home.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think some guys were like, who was the shooters involved in this? And like I was and another two other officers were. And obviously when you're involved in a shooting, you get taken back to the station. You're not allowed to talk to anybody. And again, that'll be for another episode. But anyways, that's how we originally met. And then before I got, taken off to the station by all these other guys, I think maybe that's when you found out I was involved. But you're like, hey, after this, let's grab a beer. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it.
It actually, I don't remember, but it wouldn't have changed. I've been still like, hey, let's grab a beer.
Yeah, we do like to drink beer. So
I wish we could pan this, this camera. And you guys would be looking like,
you would think we're at a brewery.
Yeah,
we're not. We actually, if you guys want to know where we're recording this, maybe I shouldn't admit this, but we turned my kids' playroom into half of a studio, and I'm not sure if that's fucked up or not, but
I mean, we're going to clean up the beer so it won't be that effed up or fucked up. Oh, dude, we can cuss. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we can cuss.
Yeah, it won't be that
we can
fucked up
swear.
because
This is our podcast.
We'll clean up the beer. We're not
Yeah.
going to leave some beer bottles around
Yeah.
for the kids to play with.
Yeah. So maybe we'll share some photos with you guys of a half playroom, half podcast room studio with beer bottles. But anyways, yeah. So that's how we met. And I will never forget, I started paying attention to where he told me he lived. And I remember driving by his house one day and Billy's out there in short shorts. And this is how he gets his nickname Hillbilly, but he's out there in short shorts wearing cowboy boots and it's like 100 degrees outside and he's mowing his lawn. And I'm like, holy shit, is that the guy that I met the other night at
You gotta
work?
wear boots when you're doing yard work.
Yeah. I'm like,
I mean, do you wear flip flops? You probably do.
no, I wear shoes because I don't want to chop my feet off, but I've never worn shorts, like short shorts with cowboy boots. I have never done that.
See, his short shorts are not that short. They actually,
So
wait, you know what? Now that I think about it, they were at one time, these shorts were pants.
yeah, I think they were jean shorts that you cut.
No, I think these were
Like Daisy
some
Dukes.
camo pants that I had for a while. And
I don't remember, but I do remember
I don't
thinking
know,
to myself,
whatever. Either way, I'm not going to say that I don't have any jeans that are cut off, but
he does. I've seen him. And I remember thinking to myself, holy shit, that's the guy that I met at work the other night. And I don't know, I guess after that, we kind of hit it off, started having beer together. And then now it's kind of like every time we get together and he comes over or whatever, and we hang out in the driveway and have some beers,
driveway,
It's
because
never like-
I'm rarely allowed in the house. I'm like that.
we hang out out front a lot.
I'm that stray dog that you're like, oh, that dog's kind of cool, but you know,
Hey,
you're not letting that in the house, right? It stinks.
yeah. But usually
It drinks
we're
all your
like,
beer.
well, usually we're like, hey, let's come over and have a beer. And one beer turns into like a lot of beers. I mean, it's never like one beer.
Oh yeah,
So-
no, I've never had one beer over here.
Anyways, that's how we met. And yeah, shit. I mean, we've been friends ever since. You know, I've been stoked for what he's done in his career. And shoot, I mean, I don't know. We've done some pretty wild stuff at work.
I
between the two of us.
think that's a huge point that you say is like, I've been stoked for what you do in your career. And I appreciate that, first of all. Second of all, I've always been stoked for what Kyle did in his career. And I think that's what, you know, we mentioned on the team and everything. And we've both been on small teams, very small teams,
Yeah.
from all levels. My department went from a clusterfuck of patrol, if you want to call it, where you work with different people every day, I think we had like 6 or 7 shifts in a day.
Yeah,
And,
that's a
and
lot.
someone who might know this platform might be able to clarify. But then we went to what we call the team atmosphere. And I know
the
that
teams that's
it's
kind of a
funny
popular thing.
is your teams, like you guys do teams, right?
We have specific teams, but
But they're different than ours.
It's different. Yeah. You guys do the team concept, which is overlapping with other teams throughout the week. And you really don't gel with one particular team. Like, we have
No.
our set patrol
I
teams.
think you're wrong. So we do. We have 3 shifts, which is probably what most departments have. We have a day shift, a swing shift, and a graveyard.
Yep.
And they have very short
Overlap.
overlap. That's
Yeah.
the word I'm looking for. And then we have 2 sides of the week is what we call it. And every shift, whether it's days, graveyards, I did that weird, days, swings, or graveyards.
Yeah. You did it backwards.
But they have 1 day between the 2 teams that overlap because obviously we work 4 days a week. I don't know if you know this, there's 7 days in a week.
I didn't. Thank you.
So sometimes I got to explain things to the pretty boy over
Yeah.
here. But so therefore there's 1 day, 4 and 4, 8 days, 7 days in the week. They have different days, but they're an overlap day. And the cool thing about those overlap days is that it's kind of a team day. So you're not responsible on that overlap day for the calls for service.
Yeah.
And it becomes a training day. It becomes a
Proactive day. Go out and
proactive
smash
day.
it.
It becomes a hey, what's the issue in the department? Which I don't know. I don't know if you guys have it, because I've driven through your department area a few times, and I don't see the issue that we have. But a lot of the times it becomes a homeless issue.
Oh yeah, no, we have plenty of homeless.
We got them beat, which is never a fucking thing to be proud of.
I think everybody listening right now is going to sit here and think we have a homeless problem too. I think everywhere does. It's so bad right now. We don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but
we're not going to get into that, because
we don't care to talk about the homeless,
because they're not fun.
No, they're not fun.
And there's nothing like, please, if you have a cool homeless story, I would love to hear about it.
Share it.
I don't have one. And do you have a cool homeless story?
I mean, no shit. On Christmas one year, I felt bad for this guy, and he was homeless, and they delivered Christmas meals to us, and because we were working, and I legitimately went to this homeless guy to give him my Christmas dinner, and he basically told me to fuck off. He didn't want it. And I was like, dang, I thought I was doing a really nice thing on Christmas for this homeless guy. He told me to fuck off, and he didn't want my dinner. So I don't know. They're not all like that, but I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of talking about homeless people. But anyways, I don't even remember what the hell we were talking about other than how we met and what we do. But let's kind of get into where we want to go with this podcast, why people should tune into it, some of our guests that we have coming up, which is awesome. Yeah, I mean, our first guest that we're going to have on is Melissa. She's an EMDR therapist. And for those of you who don't know, I own a separate business doing training for law enforcement, and it's called Shoberg Tactical Consulting. I could put the description of that in the link in our comments.
Plug his own business.
Yeah, of course I'm going to.
I would too. I mean, I'm nobody, and if I went into a classroom environment and talked about,
you would dig it.
I know I would dig it, but like, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. I don't have what Kyle has to talk about. We
just have different.
We have different backgrounds, but I would go to Kyle's thing for sure. Or
I mean,
class.
It's a class. Yeah.
Is it a class or a seminar?
No, it's a class.
I would go to it, and I've heard some of it, and from what I've seen, it's a great class. But
yeah, I mean, so really,
it costs money, and he for some reason he won't give. Does
cost money.
He won't give me a free thing, and
I did free.
I'm cheap.
My own time. So yeah, I mean, so about Melissa, I've been involved in 4 shootings at work, and after my third one, I started experiencing some post-trauma. I think even before my third one, I was definitely having symptoms of it, but that was something I kind of harbored. And you can probably agree that, and everybody that's listening can agree in the law enforcement world, that was something that you just didn't really talk about. Even if you had issues, you just didn't talk about it.
I agree. Like, not only have you not only talked about it, but I mean, your situation is kind of extreme. Whereas I think that those who have not been in law enforcement who listen to this go like, oh yeah, I can understand why you've had post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD and why you did this. But I think that you got to look at from anything from, I know people who've worked corrections their whole career or have worked patrol and never been in.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be shootings.
The extreme situation, as you want to call it.
It's the atmosphere.
And I think that the day that you enter this job and the day that you say, hey, look, this is what I want to do, and I want to help the people, and I want to, I want to do what I want to go out there and I want to catch bad guys. You change.
Yep. You absolutely do. And I will preach that until the day I die. There's no way you get in this job. I don't care what you do in the first responding community, whether you're a firefighter, EMT, paramedic, doctor, nurse,
military, cop, for sure.
It doesn't matter. Military. Yeah. I mean,
it changes you.
You will change.
But I think that, all careers will change you in a way. No matter what. Yeah. I mean, you, to a certain way, you identify by your career a lot. And if we have the time, I want to get into a little bit of before law enforcement, because in my opinion, I think that before you become a cop, who you are, and not just as a person, but what you've done before getting into law enforcement, definitely can guide you in a different path and can make you into the cop that you are at 5 years to 30 years.
Yeah.
Hopefully not more than 30. God, I hope not.
For all these young guys starting, it's like, it's longer than 30.
Yeah.
Suckers. But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there comes a point where, you experience so much, and unfortunately, I mean, you sign up for it, right? Like we sign up for this job. You see a lot of negative, bad things in this job. I mean, we're not dealing with the good side of people. Like that's not what our job is.
I would say even good people that we deal with,
they have problems too.
We're not dealing with their good times.
Yeah, no.
And that goes on both sides, suspect and victim. I mean, when you're the victim of a crime, it's probably not the best day of your life. And
no, a lot of times
it's the worst day of your life, right?
Really traumatizing to a lot of people. Being victimized one time can traumatize you the rest of your life. So for us, I mean, we deal with that. We work in really busy areas, and we're dealing with that multiple times a day. Every single day we show up to work, it's call after call of just either people being victimized.
And not so much for me anymore, like the day to day. Like I don't go call to call anymore, but
you know what I'm talking about.
I've been there, and I think that we
see the worst of society.
We all can relate, right?
So, I mean, getting back to why we're having Melissa come on is, and back to my class that I teach is, after my third shooting, I started having a lot of these symptoms. I never wanted to talk about it. I hid it. And, after a certain point, it kind of started to boil over, and I recognized it of myself. And I knew that I was going down a direction I didn't want to go. And we've seen a lot of guys go down that path and they never recover from it. And quite frankly, suicide is the number one leading cause in law enforcement death year after year. So, and that's unfortunate because there are avenues and
it's unfortunate, and it's almost 100% preventable, I think.
Yeah.
And I'll never throw a 100%, but I mean, it is preventable, and it's actually on partners, friends, family.
Yeah.
Department huge. Obviously we all know the department has, and I wanted to ask you this because, my department's my department's a lot bigger than your department.
Yeah. Way bigger.
And with big departments we have big resources, right? So, I know, and it's not really my path. It's not really, while I've been in some, we'll call them medium traumatic,
some hairy situations.
I've been in hairy situations that fortunately have, come out very well for
worked its way out.
Worked its way out for a lot of people involved. But, if I had issues with that, I had resources to reach out to. And me personally, I never reached out to those people. And probably to this day,
I didn't either.
Probably to this day, I don't know if I would, it would be my initial thing. I mean, we have peer support. We have chaplain services, which actually is a regional thing, which would serve his department too. But we have all these resources. I would never reach out to them. That's just not, because we're tough. We're I'm a badass, whatever. I don't need that. I'm good. But I think that what's really helped me out with the medium, I'm gonna go with medium.
Yeah, medium's good. I'll give you medium.
Medium with the medium traumatic situations is that I've reached out to friends, and Kyle's been one of those. Especially your friends that have been through the major, because I'm a medium. But if you always go up, you're gonna be like, oh yeah. And Kyle has been a great resource for me, to be like, hey, and most of the time it's just shooting the shit, right?
Yeah,
being like, hey, yeah, and you're like, oh yeah, this, and this is what I do, this is what I don't do, and while he's no expert, actually, fuck, you might be at this point,
depends.
But but Melissa's going to be.
Melissa's our expert.
She's
you guys,
the expert, and you guys are going to dig that podcast. Yeah. You're going to be like, oh man.
She'll dive into. She's really going to dive into what EMDR therapy is, and how it helps with post trauma. It's an underutilized therapy for any first responder, really. And the sad part is nobody, really not a lot of people know what it is. And when I do my class, and in my class, I debrief all my shootings I've been in and how to respond to a critical incident. And I talk a lot about, things that I've been involved in, but how it affected me. And I think that's not the sexy part of a lot of these stories, is how,
I mean, you're kind of the sexy part of it. From what I
hear, but
know?
I mean, I leave that part out.
Yeah.
I just, I really emphasize on the fact that, you know, a lot of times people hear when guys are involved in stuff like that, they think that's really cool, or, they think it's badass. But the problem is I guess at face value, you may think it is, but there is a consequence that comes to stuff like that. And it doesn't have to be shootings.
Well, there's a consequence to everything we do.
Yeah, but my main thing is, like, it doesn't always have to be a shooting. To me, it could be, we deal a lot with like baby deaths when children die.
I mean, I don't think anybody wants us to go there, terrible. But I mean,
we deal a lot with that. So
I mean, we can go as simple as, I don't know if you can see this, but I mean, like, you know,
those are his battle wounds. You
know, small injuries that we get, and they're not like, this is nothing, right?
No,
I would hope that if this is the worst injury I ever get in my career, I will high five myself, and I will high five everybody around me, and I will be like, yeah, I made it through unscathed.
I mean, we've had friends that have died in this job, and Billy's worked with guys that have been shot and killed at work. He's had a friend that was shot and killed at work.
Yeah, so, I actually had a good friend. And it's funny because, when you're in a large department, and I don't know if we have time to dig into this a little bit, or do we want to wait for another thing?
We can make that another show, but I mean, you can
just basically, you know, like, when you lose someone in the department, it's traumatic, right? No matter who it is. In larger departments, unfortunately, it's going to happen more than smaller departments. And I don't know if there's like a ratio or statistic or whatever it is. You know, in my career, I've lost.
Lately, it's been.
I think in my so every 2 years, basically, statistically, someone in my department is going to be killed in the line of duty, and that's not necessarily.
Yeah,
you could probably add another 4 or 5 in that have been shot. You can add another few that have been traumatically injured, and you could probably add 1 or 2 that have committed suicide, which is another thing that we'll get into. But in large departments, some of the good and some of the bad is that while I know people in my department, pretty much all people in my department, I wouldn't necessarily call them, you know, friends. I'm not hanging out with them. They're not, you know, people that I call for.
Yeah, they're acquaintances.
They're acquaintances. Yeah. Like, I know them, and in law enforcement, no matter what, I'll always have their back or whatever.
Yeah,
and that's not even department wise. If Kyle's department, and I think it's vice versa. Actually, I know it's vice versa. You know, we always have each other's back, but I have had a situation which is kind of probably the leading of my PTSD. Is that I've had a friend of mine who was killed, and it sticks with you. It honestly does.
Yeah.
You know, it's been, I can't even, I don't,
it's been, I think 3 years this year,
at least 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's something that you don't forget.
Yeah. So, I mean, like we said, I mean, it doesn't have to be a particular incident. PTSD does exist in law enforcement and anybody in the first responder community. It's not talked about a lot. And, you know, when I started my business doing what I'm doing, traveling around doing that, I want to make it known to everybody that it doesn't really matter what you've been involved in or how long you've been in the job, that things come up. And if you're experiencing certain symptoms, then you need to get help before it progresses into something major. And so that's why we're going to bring Melissa on. She's going to describe to you, go in depth with what EMDR therapy is. That's the type of therapy that I did. And I'm telling you, I think it fucking saved my life. I mean, a lot of my friends didn't even know that I was suffering from that stuff. So
no, I mean, and
as I kept
think
it a
you
secret.
consider me a friend, right? I mean, like a half friend, right?
Yeah, you're like one notch above an acquaintance.
Yeah. So I mean, like that's a win in my book.
Yeah.
But honestly, when I knew Kyle through, I met him on his second.
That was my second shooting. Yeah.
And I knew you very, very well or pretty well on your last one.
Yeah. This was my fourth one. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I knew you pretty well on that. And I didn't, we didn't talk about it.
No,
I mean, we talked about the incident.
I think I got shot in the vest on that one. And the guy tried killing my dog. And I remember being in the hospital and you're like, dude, are you okay? I'm like, well, I'm in the hospital right now.
Yeah, no, I remember hearing, so
you were on surveillance in
I don't know where I was
Southern
at.
California or something.
I was either, I was
far away.
I was not close to our department, but, law enforcement, you hear about things, especially when it's literally a neighbor agency, like,
yeah.
Doors touch doors, right? I mean, or, your wall touches our wall, right?
Yeah.
On most sides, I would say, on, three of four sides, if you want to make it a square, which it's not, but, so I heard about, a canine officer who was shot, and actually and it's funny because you hear different things. I heard a canine officer was shot and his dog was shot. His dog is not going to make it, but it seems like the officer's okay. And I knew Kyle, and I knew him well enough to know, hey, Kyle works tonight. And I knew his agency to know that, and correct me if I'm wrong, generally you don't have two dogs on, right?
We overlap during a period of our shift. So at some point during our shifts, we do have two dogs on, but for only a certain part of the day.
So at least in my mind, I'm thinking there's a 50% chance that this is my friend. And actually knowing Kyle, I was pretty much sure it was 100% chance, because Kyle seems to be a shithead magnet, or I don't know. I'm sure you've heard it all, but you seem to find the bad guys better than most. We'll just say.
I think the bad guys find me and they fall in my lap, and then people think I'm a shit magnet. I'm like, it kind of just
because you've heard shit magnet like what, a million times,
a lot, yeah.
But I remember thinking it, and I was like, so you don't want to like call the guy up and because if they've been involved, and this was pretty rapidly after it that I heard about it. So I knew that if it was him, he's obviously going to be dealing with whatever he has to deal with, both administrative and medically, because I heard that he got tagged. So I don't even know what exactly I said, but I generally tried to come at it a little lighthearted, because I don't want to be like, like, hey, bro, everything okay? I don't know. Bro, I don't like using bro either, but hey, man, everything okay? And I don't know exactly what I said, but it was somewhere on those lines. And Kyle, of course, said, yeah, I'm hit, or I got hit. I'm okay. Everything's fine, or something hit me in the vest. I'm not injured or something. Then I was like, cool, Kyle's fine. I don't care about Kyle. He'll be all right. Like, and that goes back to the whole PTSD thing, and moving on or whatever, and how we as cops generally deal with things, which is what we'll get into. A lot
of humor.
There's humor, and there's
which some people find grotesque. They're like, how could you joke about that? And it's like, I mean, I feel like if we didn't, we'd be fucking depressed all the time.
I think it goes a little bit beyond humor. It's humor and making fun of, right?
It's not humor. Like we don't find it funny, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, shit.
It's not humor towards the situation. No. It's humor towards the person.
Yeah. Just, I don't know. That's how we get through it.
But I think honestly, my concern, once I heard that Kyle's going to be completely fine, I knew that I didn't know because I knew that Kyle would definitely tell me like, oh yeah, I'm okay. Like that doesn't mean that his arm isn't blown off, right? Because if you know Kyle, you know that he's not going to be like, dude, my arm's gone, and send me pictures, which I'm like, thank God. But you automatically go towards how was Axel? That's honestly what I thought. Kyle's fine.
Yeah.
But I'd heard that he was fine before I talked to him. But I also heard that Axel was done. And do we want to get into like the bond of canine and everything, or do we want to wait?
The reality is anybody that's a dog handler that listens or what? I mean,
not even
there's a special bond between a dog handler and a dog.
And I think it's specialer than the normal person, but I think that there's a bond between man and dog no matter what.
Absolutely.
Because I have 3 dogs. I've never been a handler, but
and exciting news is we're gonna have Mike Ritlin on this show, and he can definitely explain that.
Okay, I'll wait for a lot of questions about that then.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know,
for a real badass, not Kyle.
Yeah,
Mike Ritlin's someone who's actually cool.
Yeah, he's a retired Navy SEAL dog handler and trains dogs for the SEAL teams and trains personal protection dogs. But and I forgot to mention I got to be on his podcast.
Oh,
that was pretty cool.
Oh, you were on his podcast?
Yeah, I was. Mic drop. Go check it out. Episode 72. Anyways, yeah, there is a special bond between dog and handler. In this situation, yeah, the guy shot the dog tried to shoot my dog point blank in the face and grazed him in the face. Luckily the dog survived, but we can talk about some of these stories later on. I can share videos and some of the things I have for those, but getting back to kind of the post-trauma, why we're going to have Melissa on the show.
Do I keep taking us away from the story?
Nah, it doesn't matter. The cool thing about our own podcast is we can do whatever the hell we want, and it doesn't matter because it's ours. So if you don't like it, turn it off.
Or actually, better yet, if you don't like it, tell us, and then tell us why, and
you can say you guys are jackasses. Could you?
Well, don't say that because we know that. I mean,
we actually don't have a script. We're kind of we're winging it. That was kind of when we got together. We're like, let's do this. We've put a lot of effort into this actually.
Yeah. dude, it's like 2 sentences of what our podcast is going to be.
Yeah. So anyways,
which honestly, it might not even be that. Who knows?
Yeah. So we're going to bring Melissa on. She'll explain, EMDR therapy. And I strongly suggest everybody listen to it. You're going to get so much value out of it. Like I said, I did the therapy myself, and it's a type of therapy specifically for first responders, military guys that have been involved in some type of post-traumatic incident. So,
well, I think that it's easy for you to say that you should listen to it. I think it's easy for him to say that, honestly, because he's been through it and he's seen what it's done and helped him out. I think that you have to look at someone like me who, honestly, I've never met Melissa.
No.
I don't know what EMDR is necessarily. I actually had to Google it because Kyle kept talking about it.
It stands for eye movement reprocessing and desensitization is the type of therapy. So if you want to Google it.
No, desensitization. Wait.
Yeah. EMDR.
But you said RD. No, whatever.
He doesn't listen
to it. No, you're right. I don't, but,
Google it.
No. So Google it. But, I will tell you this is 40% my podcast. No, we'll say 50% my podcast. I am the most excited about having Melissa on because I don't know anything about it. And, you look at let's say Mike Ritlin, who, will be on here. He's known, he's a badass. I'm really looking forward to talking to him too, but, Melissa is the real deal and really can help all of us out. And I'm literally looking to it to be like, hey, when I come out of that conversation with her, hopefully I'll be allowed to talk to her a little bit off camera too.
Oh, for sure.
And, get my own points and everything. And I think that that's big for you guys too, is, if you have the questions that you want to, first of all, Google it, so you know what it is, because I'll Google it and do a little more studying before she comes on. But ask us before, ask us now, because when she comes on, we're not going to get her back on. Well, not right away.
Could.
We won't get her back on, but we probably could get her back on.
She'll be live in person here.
So the questions that you want to know about, we won't be able to ask her when she's gone, at least for probably several years, to be honest. But, we can always circle back to questions that you guys ask, but you don't want to ask me.
Don't ask after the fact.
You probably could ask Kyle. You definitely don't want to ask me, but you definitely want to ask Melissa about EMDR. You go to the expert.
Yeah. So we're super excited to have her on. I think that'll be a big deal.
And she's cool too, from what I heard. She's not super cool. She's not doctor.
Here's the thing about therapy. Yeah, the thing about therapy is if you're gonna do it, you have to go meet the therapist, do the one-on-one thing. If you don't click or connect with the therapist, then don't go back. Find a different one. And don't forget, they work for you, you don't work for them. So I've had so many times where officers are like, yeah, I did this therapy and I really didn't click with the therapist and we weren't jiving. And my first advice to them is get rid of them. You're wasting your time, because if you're not clicking with that person and you're not feeling it, to me, you're wasting your time. So yeah, if you're doing any type of therapy, or if you're going to do EMDR, go vet out these therapists and make sure that, number one, they're legit and they know what the hell they're doing. But if you're not connecting with them, get rid of them, because you're wasting your time, and potentially if you're paying money for it, you're wasting money. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to have her on. You guys will get a lot of value out of it. And, and
I think that's the premise. The premise of this podcast is not, we could be blowhards all day long and sit here and tell you, oh, I've done this. And that's this guy can tell you about he's done this, and we can get the most badass motherfuckers on the planet. Maybe we can, I don't know. But we could get some badass dudes on here and they can be like, I've done this, I've done that, which is cool.
Yeah.
I definitely want to hear from those people, but I definitely want to know how it can help me, being selfish about it. And I want to turn that into how it can help you guys, because this is we're all first responders, or not all of us listening to this, but we're first responders. And I think that anybody listening to this has a desire to help. Right.
Yeah.
And what do we look for to help? And these are things that can help us and help us be better first responders and deal with our own issues. Because we all first responder. Is there a second responder? Is second responder a thing?
I've never heard of it, but there probably is.
Can I call firefighters? No,
we should.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some firefighters on the show.
I'll wait for that one.
Yeah, we have some firefighters lined up to the show.
But
when they're on, we'll call them second responders, and we'll just see what they say. We'll see if they get pissed off or not.
I mean, I guess it'll be 2-on-1, so we could probably take them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
They don't have their hoses with them, so we're good. No, we respect the hell out of firefighters.
Oh, dude, more.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
We know you get way jacked up when a fire call comes out.
And actually, that's an interesting point. Is people there? If you're not law enforcement or fire, or even, I don't know, whatever, out there, you might think, oh, cops and firefighters, they don't like each other, or there's an argument between them. I'd be like,
nah.
There's actually no argument between us.
Nah.
There's actually a friendship.
Yeah,
it's such a strong friendship that we talk shit to each other.
Oh fuck, totally.
Much like this. Like you'll hear me throughout this podcast, and you'll hear Kyle definitely
on calls, when we're on calls together.
Shit about each other.
We always talk. Yeah, we talk shit.
And it, between agencies, between what you've done, what I've done, you as a fucking person, I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll talk
that's
shit,
actually
right?
good. That's a good a segue into it doesn't matter in our job. It doesn't matter whether you're a firefighter, whatever, right? I mean, you work at a different agency. When the time comes and bad shit's happening and we all come together, it is amazing to see a bunch of people come together that don't know each other, that are no shit willing to die for each other. I've seen it. We see it all the time. And
that's, that goes, like you said,
it's amazing.
Nurses, doctors, firefighters.
Yeah.
I've recently went to the hospital, not because I needed to go to the hospital, but because, I had to take someone else to the hospital. But, it was crazy to see the nurses just, hey, let me help you out. Let me help you out. Let me help you out. And you're like, no, I'm fine.
You did get a couple little boo-boos from tackling somebody. We already showed you what Billy's boo-boos were, but
yeah, you know,
actually,
but I mean, but these are like literally like, I want to talk shit about him using the word boo-boos.
Yeah. They gave him fucking Band-Aids when he left the hospital. That's considered a boo-boo. But
there was no reason for me to go to the hospital for my injuries. It's definitely something that I would have handled on my own. And actually, fire had responded to the scene and they were more than willing to help too.
Can I share a quick story about, to this day, I get made fun of.
No, I'm kidding.
I mean, it's kind of comical. There's actually a photo of it. I might be able to get it and show it to you. But one time I got in this foot chase with a guy. So I was doubled up with a partner. I was the passenger. We went out to arrest this guy. He took off on a bicycle. My dumbass tried chasing him down on foot, and he's on a bike. My partner, who I thought might have come and picked me up in the car, he took off in the car after the bad guy. So I'm sprinting down the sidewalk, trying to chase both of them. And he may or may not have trying to been taking him out on the bike with the car. That didn't work. They ended up going about, I don't know, no shit, like more than like a half a mile down the street.
Yeah.
And I'm sprinting. They go in a neighborhood and I'm fucking gassed. Like
Captain America was gassed.
Dude, I'm not a runner. And I was gassed. And I'm like, and I can't see him, but I hear the sound of a taser, like the clacking of a taser. Yeah. And I hear yelling and I'm like, shit. And, so I come around the corner and I see my partner. He's out of the car.
Okay. Real quick. Did your adrenaline pump up a little bit? And you're like, okay, being that never quit attitude that we talk about.
Oh yeah, it did. I kept going.
I'm dead tired. I'm sure you were. You're like, oh, I'm done. And if it wasn't for that situation, you'd probably been like, I'm walking there.
I would have fucking quit. No, yeah, I would have. I would have left. Yeah, no, I would have.
Or whatever. You heard it because you're like, oh, I want to see what happened. But you heard it, and guess what?
I heard my partner yelling.
You probably ended up sprinting again.
I did. I was sprinting, and by the time I got there, I could not breathe, and my partner was struggling with this guy. We end up getting on top of him. We arrest him and get him in handcuffs. We're all pretty gassed out, but no shit. I think I had a mini heart attack, and the fire guys showed up. They hooked me up to the I don't even know what it's called, but like they checked my heart rate or whatever. And they were like, dude,
EKG probably, right?
Maybe. Yeah. The little, yeah. They were like, dude, you're fucking pinging pretty high. Are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I couldn't fucking breathe. I thought I was going to pass out. So they give me the oxygen mask and I'm like puffing on this oxygen mask. And of course another cop shows up. He thinks it's funny. Takes a picture. Of course. That shit went viral. And
did it go viral or viral?
Well, within our department. Yeah, it was in our department. But one of my lieutenants to this day, this was years ago, he has it hanging in his office. And I'm like, dude, you can take that down. You don't have,
and you're a sergeant now.
God.
I
thought I was going to die.
You're the one who's telling these people what to do now.
Yeah, it was horrible. I thought I think I did have a heart attack.
It's funny. You brought up, and I know we could go stories back and forth for another 2 hours probably. But you brought the chasing the bike down.
Stupid.
And it reminded me of this thing. So, I get behind a moped.
That's even worse if you try to chase a moped on foot.
It'll get way worse.
Uh-oh.
So I run it because that's what we do, right? You run the license plate and you're like, I run it, and all of a sudden, I don't know how do you guys call them MDTs?
Yeah.
Yeah. MDTs.
Mobile data terminal.
MDT goes, and it, you know, it
Stolen.
it does its thing. And for us, that meant stolen. And I think for a lot of agencies that probably all run the same systems. And I go, oh shit, cool. I got a guy, and I'm like, and automatically I'm thinking pursuit, right? But then like, it doesn't cross my mind that I'm going to go after a moped that's top speeds.
Like 25. That's embarrassing.
We're in a residential area too. So I'm like, call it out. And being the younger cop that I am, I light it up, right? By
lighting it up, he means pulling it over.
I go to pull it over. And for us, knowing what I know now and being someone who has learned from their mistakes, you wait for someone else to be there. You probably wait for K9.
Yeah.
Or
air.
For us, we have air resources. I know a lot of your smaller agencies don't have that. Even you as a small agency, you don't have your own.
No, but we use yours.
But you know, it's in the air. It's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you wait for it to show up. Not me. I go, screw it. It's a moped, right?
Yeah, but who's riding the moped?
So I light this moped up, and it goes, and we're going down the street. It takes off, right? I'm in a patrol car that we'll say it goes over 120 miles an hour. I know this for a fact, and I don't know if you know how fast your patrol cars go, but mine goes over, our departments go over 120 miles an hour. Moped does not go near that. Residential, lights it up, and I'm behind him. I'm like, I got this guy, right? It's a moped. He hits a park and goes through the bollards of the park, which are made so that a car cannot go through.
Like the concrete delineator.
Yeah, they're your
post.
Steel post is what these ones were. Yellow usually. He goes through them. So me, just, you know, dog chase cat or whatever it is, put it in park, get out, and I start running.
Oh my God. That's worse than what I did.
Needless to say, I did not catch the guy.
I bet you there's officers listening right now that are laughing. They're like, I've done that.
Or I remember that exact situation.
And they're like, dumbass.
Yeah. And it is. And how many, we can't even count. I can't count. And I'm sure you can't. How many dumbass things have you done?
Oh my God. Every day. I think I did
just
some
sit there and
dumbass last night at work.
You're like, because it is, we go into instinct and we go into our muscle memory. And for me, if someone runs, no matter what it is,
you chase.
I chase.
Yeah. It's like,
and that's
instinct.
actually gone very, very bad for some people.
Yeah.
in
Like
law enforcement,
like me, like the last shooting we just talked about was a foot chase and the guy pulled a gun and shot me.
I know exactly. And you actually, that's better than some, right? I know people
that didn't live
who, they chase and they didn't think, right? Because that's what we do. We don't think sometimes. So hopefully we all think, and we all we can all look at this at the end, and we can all come back to maybe this podcast, maybe it's something else, but maybe you get out of the car and you're like, I'm chasing this guy, and you're like, Kyle said don't do that. And you're like, and you tell someone that Kyle said, and they're like, who the fuck is Kyle?
Yeah.
Or this weird bearded guy told me don't do it. Then you know, if it happens once because of this podcast, I will be high-fiving every single motherfucker on the planet.
Yeah.
Because we got into this job to protect the community and save lives.
Yeah.
And we
not
protect
to get
ourselves
killed.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of this job, when guys get hurt or killed or whatever, I hate to say it, but it's human error on their part. I mean, you watch a lot of these videos online now that are coming out, body cams, and we all have body cams now. Sometimes you sit back and you watch those and you go, God damn it, what the fuck was he thinking or she was thinking? I mean, it comes down to bad officer safety. You're too comfortable or you get complacent. And I always say, again, in my class, I always pose a question, what causes complacency? It's one word, and it's success. if you're successful so many times doing something, you are going to become complacent, and eventually that will catch up with you.
We're all going to be complacent though.
We do. And it's up to us to catch it. It's up to, I try to create a culture on my teams of, if you see a guy on the team doing, you know, an officer safety issue, or he's being complacent, he does something dumb. I try to build this culture of, we should be able to call each other out on it and not have a grudge against the person that called you out on the issue. So, you know, I've kind of made games out of it at work. We do, like for me, we do push-ups in my briefing. If a guy,
of course,
no shit. If a guy,
of course you do.
If a guy does, if a guy on the team does something, has an officer safety issue or does something stupid, I've built this culture where we're comfortable calling each other out on it, and to the point where we've kind of made a game out of it. And not that it's a game, but we have fun with it. The next day in briefing, we have that officer stand up. He has to stand in front of everybody in briefing and say what he did wrong and why, how it affected the whole team. Because if one guy does something dumb, it usually, everyone gets sucked into it, right? Because
and even not even that, if one guy does something dumb, not everybody on the team necessarily knows that it was dumb.
No,
because they don't know, right?
They may think that's the right thing to do.
They may think that's, and I think that when we talk about effective leadership, we brought it up several times, and I think have we brought it up several times? But we will bring it up several times. We talk about effective leadership, and effective leadership is motivation. It's training. It's all kinds of different things. And so many times in law enforcement, we can look at our leaders and we can look at them as, oh, that's the guy who's going to get me in trouble, or that's the girl who's going to get me in trouble, or, hey, don't tell Kyle I did this. And
lack of trust. I mean,
it's lack of trust. So as an effective leader, to me, working for very good leaders, and I don't think I've ever had very bad leaders. Maybe, I don't know. You look at what they have done, and we all learn. Are you the leader you are now partially because of who has led you?
Oh, 100%. I take the bad in what I've seen of leadership, and I obviously I know like what not to do, but
can I take that back a little bit and be like, are you not the leader you are now because of
bad leadership?
Not even bad leadership, but are you not because of the people you've worked with?
Yeah.
Because we get leadership, I think, in my opinion, I've gotten leadership from leaders, obviously. We all get it from leaders, but the people we work for too. When you're that new guy on patrol, there's that old crusty dude, right?
Yeah.
And he's been there for 30 years, whatever. And you look at that guy and you go, oh, he knows this, this, and this. But also, we can go into beat etiquette to another thing. And if a guy's been in patrol for, especially in my department, for a very, very long time, either they're just that badass guy that just wants to do patrol, which there's plenty out there.
Yeah.
But there's also the few that they can't go anywhere.
Yeah. Those are the guys that get in trouble and they're stuck, and they're like that salty ass veteran. Those are the guys you generally don't want to follow,
but you learn from them.
Yeah. You learn
leadership from them, actually. And I think that they teach you how to skate around bad leaders sometimes, and how to, I've learned good from every cop I've worked with.
Yeah. Good or bad?
No, I think I've learned good.
Like good from the bad?
Even from the bad, but I think that even the bad have taught me something good. Some little thing. And maybe it's just a
nugget.
Of, hey, this is how you write that report.
Yeah. I will agree with you. I will agree that with bad leadership, sometimes those leaders they will offer you little nuggets, and you should take those nuggets. But
are you a bad leader?
I mean, I don't know. I guess we could ask the guys that I work with, or that
I have. I've talked to.
They're like, he sucks. He makes us do push-ups when we fuck up at work.
No, like Kyle had your team. what you guys called a team, right?
Oh yeah, our team. Yeah, we just had a end of shift team.
Yeah, he had an
barbecue
end
here
of
at their
shift.
house,
He
yeah.
had a bunch of people over, and being
they
the
talking
hillbilly
shit?
drunk that I. No, I'm not talking shit at all. I'm saying being the hillbilly.
No, were they talking shit?
Whoa, hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna talk right here. No, actually, no, they weren't talking shit. But being
All
the
right.
hillbilly drunk that I am, I was like, free beer, right? So I came over.
Does that a lot. And
It's-
free pool.
It's 4 houses down, 4 or 5,
Yeah.
whatever houses down. I showed up and hung out with some cops that I didn't know. Honestly, they're literally agency over, and I didn't know them. And at some point, it's great. I think that it's also great because at some point they might have my back, or I might have their back in a major incident, and it's good to know what kind of people they are, and it's good to know that there's a trust too.
Yeah.
And what I got from your team is that they trust you and that they're trustworthy people. And I think that when we come to law enforcement, trust is
That's huge. It's everything.
it's a bit yeah.
It starts with trust. Everything
It starts with
trust.
community trust in the law enforcement,
Yeah.
and officers trusting officers trusting sergeants,
Yeah.
trusting lieutenants, and
If you
Yeah,
don't
it
have
goes all the
trust,
way
you have
up.
nothing. Really, if you don't have trust, or you can't, to me, trust is like the foundation to build everything else on top of that. If you don't have that, I mean, you are not going to be an effective leader if you don't have trust of your own people.
I think trust
you're gonna suffer.
transcends all of what we'd want to talk about, because you want to talk about PTSD and therapy and EMDR and Melissa. If you never trusted Melissa, you wouldn't talk to her. If you never trusted me, you wouldn't have told me some of the things you've been through.
Yeah.
If I didn't trust you, I wouldn't tell you the things I've been through. If I didn't trust you, I wouldn't have. I'm probably into this like $200 for a mic, whatever. I've been on. Nah, I'm not.
Way more
I'm
than
not
that.
doing. Is it 200 or what?
Shit. Our mics were like 250.
It was damn. You guys should probably send us some money. No, I'm kidding.
We need some sponsors, damn
Sponsors, yeah. Yeah, I'll wear anything. You wear me. Give me a pink rainbow hat.
God
or
damn
something.
it. You want us to sponsor a fucking thong and goddamn bra? Like, we'll make Billy do it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
That was a shameless plug right there.
I know. I was almost like begging. We're just kidding.
We're kidding. We don't care.
We actually did all this for you.
We actually are very successful in our careers, and if
we're lucky,
we don't need any or want any money from this.
Yeah,
or I don't.
No,
I mean, I'm guessing you don't either.
We definitely do not get paid for this. I mean, we've invested quite a bit of money to make this happen out of our own pocket, but we don't. It's not what we're doing this for.
Beer sponsor though. Now, if you got a beer sponsor, that's beyond
If you guys have a plug for a beer company, I mean, we will not deny it. In fact, we will advertise your
shit,
beer.
dude. We could get a big sign back. Like we'll get rid of everything. Big signs.
Speaking of
we'll
that,
wear the shirts. We'll wear everything.
Speaking of that, I know our wall looks bare right now, but we did have a custom flag made for our podcast, which we are picking up this week. And that was
your friend who out of the kindness of his heart, because he believes
Kelly Woodworks, and we will blast out his stuff. We'll hang his flag up here behind us. When we
and literally, you're gonna look at this flag and you'll be like, "Oh, this guy knows what he's doing." Because
he's the shit.
I don't know what you guys have seen out there, but
he's a cop and a canine handler. He's a dog handler.
Kyle and I are both amateur carpenters, right?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, we bought tool belts. We watch a shit ton of YouTube videos on how to build stuff. And I feel like you could watch YouTube and, you could build a house.
No, but here's what I'm saying. Here's where I go with this is, could I build a flag for this podcast? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Would it look like this?
No, because
fuck no. Like actually,
no, because you have to have a certain machine to do it.
If we get the time, we should build one and put it next to this and be like, "Nah, this is a professional one, and this is two drums."
I did build my own. I have it in the garage. It's a canine flag.
Oh yeah,
I could show it. I mean, I could show you it. I built it myself. I actually built everybody on our canine team. We have 5 handlers.
He used an Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah, a cricket. I use a fucking cricket. No, just kidding. All right. I guess maybe we should probably wrap this up, but.
You can edit out all the stupid shit that you said. I mean, none of
Yeah.
I mean,
I
everything
didn't wanna-
I said was gold.
I didn't want to edit a whole lot out of this because we kind of went into it like, let's just roll with it. And if they like it, they like it. If they don't, then they don't have to watch it.
And please, I've said this at least once, probably twice.
Probably.
Please give us some feedback because this is your show. It's not our show. We're going to have fun doing it no matter what. And if one person listens to it and watches it, I'm still going to have fun.
Here's the bottom line.
1 million, I'm probably not going to change my fun level, but please direct us in the way that you want this to go.
Here's the bottom line. Well, number one, the next time we're on, Billy will have matching headphones as me. They won't be white like that. Okay. Wow. Number two, and those are knockoff Beats, by the way. He brought this over and he's like, I'm like, dude, your headphones aren't in yet. But we had to get this done. And he's like, why I have a set of Beats by Dre at my house? And I said, okay, I thought they may have been the same color as mine. Anyways, we made it work and he shows up with these bright ass white headphones. And I'm like, shit, dude. That doesn't match. But he's like, well, fuck it. We could spray paint them. I'm like, well, we're not going to do that. And then he tells me, because I'm thinking like they're expensive, like $300 headphones. And he's like, well, they're knockoffs. I got them at work for free.
Oh, I mean, I
not supposed to share that?
I am hillbilly, I guess,
Yeah. He has a name. He has a name for a reason.
Some redneck engineering, I guess we call it, like if you got to make things work, you make things work.
Anyways.
I mean, like Sony is Sony.
We're not going to give them shout outs unless they pay us.
They're not going to pay us.
No. Anyways, here's the deal. We're going to be giving you guys, this is our first episode of just me and Billy, but it
gets way better.
We have a lot of guests lined up for you guys. Like I said, our first guest is going to be Melissa. I strongly suggest you guys tune in when she's with us, listen to that and watch that episode, share it with as many people as you can. But we have a lot of cool guests lined up after that. So hopefully you guys tune in. We're going to keep it real with you. Honestly, we're just a couple of street cops who have a lot of cool experiences and some cool stories to share with you guys. Hopefully you get some value out of it. We've made a lot of mistakes in our career. We will share those with you so that maybe you don't make those mistakes. But yeah, I mean, do you have anything to add?
No, I really don't have anything to add, but bear with us because
this is our first time.
It's our first time, and we're never going to do live comments. We're just not. We don't. That's not where we're going to be. That's not who we are.
Yeah.
We
don't need a bunch of people hating on us.
Maybe we're not organized enough.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
We'll get there.
But please tell us where you want it to go. And please, if you watch this one and you go, you guys suck.
Yeah. Go fuck yourself.
Then say it. I don't care.
No, I'm just kidding.
Like I have very thick skin. I've been told way worse than anything you can tell me on this thing, especially behind a keyboard. Because whatever. But hopefully you guys are going to tell us what you actually want to hear and what you want this to go to. And
if they're watching on the YouTube channel, then give us a comment. You can let us know what you want to hear. If you want to hear a particular story from us,
how can they get in contact with us?
Okay. So you can contact us at Shots Fired Podcast 360 at gmail.com. So that's Shots Fired Podcast 360 at gmail.com. You can go to my website, www.kyleshoberg.com. That will be in the description. My website's on there and you can check out what that's all about. My contact is on there if you want to shoot me a email.
Can I give him your personal phone number? I'm kidding. No. Sorry.
But my Instagram.
Ladies.
Yeah, my Instagram is I guess it's the @ symbol.
I think that's how you do it.
Or I'm new to Instagram. Like I've only had it for just maybe a couple months, but
I've had it for a while, but I've never had to give out my.
Yeah, we're not giving Billy's out because of what he does, and
I don't really.
The guy has a goddamn beard for a reason at work, and so we're not going to give his out. But I don't mind giving mine out because it's tied to my business. But it's Kyle _ Shoberg, SHOBERG. That's Kyle_Shoberg. You can follow me on Instagram. We are going to advertise newly released episodes on the Instagram. And our YouTube channel is Shots Fired Podcast. That's our YouTube channel. And I think I saw somebody, I checked it out. I saw somebody else on there that has the same name, but it's like,
well, you're going to see the two beautiful men and you're going to be like,
yeah,
that's the guys I want to talk to.
Don't follow them. They're like, they like talk about rap music videos and shit. I'm like, what the hell? Anyways, God damn it. They stole our idea, but follow us on YouTube if you want. We are going to be releasing episodes once every few weeks. We have quite a few guests lined up.
How often should people start? I mean, and I'm asking because I want to know how much I have to work at this. How often are we going to release some stuff on general? And guess what? I can tell you this right now. We're not going to be restricted by times. And if we say it's going to be,
if we go over an hour, well, that's sorry. We don't have a specific time frame where, you know, we're not making an episode at exactly 30 minutes or 1 hour, 1.5. Like, God damn it, we'll finish when we finish. And
fast forward if you don't like a spot. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah, if there's value to it, tune in. If not, then that's fine. But no, we don't have a time limit. Yeah, you can expect episodes to probably come out once every, I don't know, I think we came out like 3 weeks. I think at first we're like, let's do one once a month. We'll see how many of you tune into this and how many views we get and how many of you want to hear more. If you want to hear more, we'll ramp it up and dish out more.
Shit,
we have a lot of good guests.
I'll do one a week if you guys if you guys can tell me guests that we can actually get and you guys want to listen. But if there's 30 people listening to this and they say, hey, get Barack Obama, I'm gonna be like, okay.
Not happening.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold your breath. I
Could
swear.
we get Biden? No, we would never ask him.
I mean,
I bet you Trump
I'd be down
would
to
come
talk
on.
to. I'd be down to talk to anybody.
I bet you Trump. We could get Trump.
Oh, that's another thing. That you brought that up. We're not going to get political on this either.
Nah.
And if you want to hear about the state of politics in general, even how they relate to law enforcement, we might dive into them
a little bit
with comments here and there, but
that's not the purpose of our show.
I don't like politics personally. So, and I'm a selfish motherfucker. So, I'm not going to talk about politics. If Kyle wants to talk about how he's, I have no idea
what
how
party I am
politically signs. I mean, I have a guess, and it's probably what 99.9999% of law enforcement is, but we won't get into that. That's just not where we go with this. That's not the purpose of this. If that's what you guys want, hey, shoot us a bunch of messages about it, and maybe we'll go that way. I don't know. We're kind of
we're open.
We could be swayed that way. I don't want to do it, but
well,
first of all,
the thing is, we don't want to get in trouble. Like, we're still in law enforcement. Like, we work full time as cops. Like, listen, we don't want to hear your bullshit about. We don't want to hear your bullshit about like wanting us to get in depth about, you know, certain cops that were arrested or.
Oh, we'll not get into that.
No, we'll touch on it, but
I won't get into that because for many reasons we can Monday morning quarterback anything, right? Is a phrase that we've all heard, and we can all say, hey, they should have done this, they should have done that, and shoulda, coulda, woulda, whatever. That's just not it's I don't know enough about most situations to say that, first of all. Yeah. And I don't care that much about it. There's plenty of professionals out there, and I'm sure you could probably type in something on YouTube or
go find it elsewhere because you ain't going to get it here.
Yeah.
Anyways. All right. Well, we'll wrap this one up, but stay tuned.
We're trying to come up with a slogan.
Oh yeah, we are. We are trying to come up with like a ending slogan because we watched a bunch of YouTube videos on podcasts, and they're like, you have to have a closing slogan.
Like, your boy's got a good one.
Yeah, Ritland's is joke yourself.
Yeah,
we can't steal that from him.
I like it, but I mean, like, go fuck yourself. No, we can't do that.
We can't do that. We're professionals.
Yeah, I mean, he's a professional.
Yeah. Hey, leave us a comment if you have a cool slogan for us that's semi-professional.
Yeah. You know, we're despite what you may think, we are semi-professional.
Yeah. Anyways. All right. Well, this wraps up. Hopefully you guys will tune in for more episodes. We do have a lot of good guests for you lined up. And we will release those as soon as possible. But thanks for tuning in for our very first episode. You got to meet Billy and I.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 to 4 weeks after this.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you guys listening.
Peace.
Hey, for another shot fired.
Copy additional shot fired.
Shot fired, shot fired. Shooting at us.
Suspect shooting at officer.
Suspect down. He's at the base of the stairs. White t-shirt, white male.